not the same, are they? Because as I said, um, uh, David Tennant 14th Doctor it's you can see it's got red in it, red and blue. Yeah,
David's look is a lot darker brown, isn't it? It's a lot more sort of down, like not as bright and not as in your face. Well, Shooty's is incredibly loud, but that suits his personality. And honestly, I thought we were going to get something a bit more outlandish with Shooty. I thought we were going to get something a bit more sort of fashiony and a bit more high street fashion. Do you know, like that we'd go, what on earth is that? But I'm actually think it's a bit more sensible than what I was expecting from him, honestly.
Well,
So you're confused. Were you rubbing your eyes when you first saw it, Ian? You just thought he's wearing the same clothes. They've just dyed a different colour.
No, it's not that. When I first saw it, I was disappointed, and I can still say I'm disappointed. I don't think it's very Doctor-y like. I think it's veering towards Fabulous Darling, which I don't like. Everybody knows I don't like that idea.
Because we haven't talked about this, have we? While we're waiting, because we're waiting for another panelist to turn up before we can start Type 40 Extra. So this is kind of Type 40 Extra. So I haven't heard you talk about the costume yet. So you were just disappointed when you saw it.
Yeah, it's because you sent me the picture, and I was like excited, and I opened it, and I thought, why? Do you know what I mean? It's nothing doesn't speak of the Doctor at all. Nothing about this says the Doctor to me at all.
See, for me, I think the sense of oldness to me says Doctor, because to me the print or the pattern and the colour scheme makes me think of somebody from a different time period. Honestly,
no, it doesn't. I mean, it's very modern.
That's interesting. The colour palette.
There's nothing old about it at all. It's very modern.
Charlotte
I think
feels differently.
I think the brown and the sort of, like I said, it made me almost think of Troughton a bit. It made me think more of that sort of pattern.
I think the trousers are really similar to Troughton's, certainly. And whilst the coat is more fitted, because obviously Troughton's coat is shapeless, isn't it? It's got that sort of, it's as if it's been drawn by a child on a coach trip, and their hand has sort of gone all wobbly. But this is much cleaner lines. But it's not a fitted jacket in the way that Tennant wears a fitted suit.
That's also a major difference I realised, especially when I saw the video afterwards, because I saw the picture first and then I watched the video of them on the car park, and it is quite flowy. What Shooty's wearing, and I like that. I like a Doctor with sort of a coat that's a bit longer, or a jacket, or whatever he's wearing, that when he runs it needs to flap a bit, it needs to have a bit of hero sort of silhouette to it, and that's what I see a lot.
It needs to billow.
Yeah, he needs to sort of billow a bit when he's running down the corridor.
like the sail on a big ship, Ian.
Yeah, it will billow when he's doing some action stuff and stuff like that. It will. It's long enough to do that. But I just don't agree with the style at all. As I said, I'm old-fashioned that way, I guess, classic and new Who. I mean,
I think it's interesting how his trousers, Ian, Tennant's suit trousers, they're actually quite loose, and they go right down to his ankles, whereas Shooty's trousers are very, very fitted, and they finish just so you could, kind of like Capaldi's were. Capaldi, I think, used to wear skinny fit.
I thought
Farrah's maybe or something like that.
Capaldi's costume was I think one of the worst in my opinion. When he started off, he looked very classic. I didn't like it.
Which one?
I like the first one. I like the first costume that Peter Capaldi
So
had.
did you not like the hoodie? Is that the one you didn't
like?
No,
because
I love that when they started layering him.
Yeah, they started giving him dad's costumes and stuff like that. And to make matters worse, he tried to be a cool dad with a guitar and stuff like that. And
I didn't like the guitar stuff. No. I mean, I know Capaldi himself is a muso. I mean, I've heard his album. Oh dear. But he is a muso in all, and he can play the guitar certainly better than I could. I love what he.
I just think they got lost with him. Suddenly they're giving him a black cardi, and suddenly they give him a hoodie and stuff like that. And they just didn't. It was like they were unsure what he should be wearing. Unlike Matt Smith, who started off with a bow tie, carried on with a bow tie, and his costume got a bit more elaborate. How's that word? Was that how you say that word again?
Elaborate.
Yeah, elaborate. As it went on, and it did suit his character. David Tennant's costume completely suited who he was, and the costume that didn't speak Doctor Who, but it matched who he was Chris Eccleston's costume.
Oh,
with so it basically said more about Chris Eccleston than it actually said about the Doctor.
I had Sarah on for a Type 40 Extra last week, I think it was, and we talked a little about that. And I described, in a moment of pure genius, inspiration on my part, he says with tongue firmly in his cheek, I described Capaldi's look as part Modfather and part wizard. He always looks like he's a cross between Paul Weller and Gandalf to me. Whereas Chris Eccleston's character, he's dressed like he's the survivor of a war. He's dressed like a U-boat captain or somebody who's done
everything with Chris is utilitarian, isn't it? Like there's no flair. There's no sort of look at me-isms. It's purely, I need a jacket so I'm warm. I need a jumper. Like I just need to wear these clothes for what clothes are for. Whereas a lot of other doctors after him, they all had that bit of personal flair. They all had that bit of something that you could tell this is their stamp.
But that's what I'm saying, that it suited more of Chris Eccleston's character than it suited the Doctor.
Yes.
When you look at David Tennant's costume, it literally said the Doctor. Do you know what I mean? With the long coat and the suit and stuff like that, it really did say the Doctor, and more so with Matt's as well. Peter's started off very well, but it just kind of went into, I don't know, dad territory in my opinion.
My view is it'll always look like the Doctor, Charlotte, as long as they've got lapels to tug up on.
I think for me, and this is what I do like about Shooty, for me the Doctor is, it needs to look a little bit out of place. It needs to look a little bit like not a normal person would wear that, a little bit. I don't want it to be like a full costume, not like we've had sometimes.
But it doesn't, though. It looks like Primark. It looks like he's walking on a catwalk. It doesn't look like it's odd in today's world. That's what the other costumes had. From the classic to the new Who, their costumes look like they don't belong in our world. But this one looks like he belongs on a catwalk. I'm sorry, but to me it doesn't work.
For a normal person on the street, it needs to look a bit odd. For somebody you just walk past on the street, not on a catwalk.
But it doesn't look odd. I know people that dress like that down my way. So just, you know what I mean?
Well,
so to me, it doesn't look odd at all.
I mean, once you've seen it, you see
apart from the orange.
And
that's what I mean. The orange and the print makes me think, that's something a little bit.
Maybe
not a normal person down the street
I do see
wear.
people that do dress like that, and
so
it's only been in the last week that I've realised that the difference is that they're all women. And I think I still confidently claim I was the first person. I don't know if other people have since, come to think of it, it's been a week, but on this show, we were the show that broke the news that Ncuti Gatwa's costume is at least 50% from the ladies' wear section. And, I've got mixed feelings about that. At the end of the day, he looks pretty damn good in it, so who am I to judge? But I do see, but since I found that out, I've been out and about like Christmas time, and obviously it's cold, and I have seen several women, if not wearing that exact coat, wearing very, very similar ones, certainly with the same pattern and the same general cut. And so
he's quite small, isn't he? Is he quite small, chap?
He's about my height, I think. So like 5'9", 5'10".
And David Tennant's quite tall, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, Tennant's really tall.
6'3".
Right, 6'3".
Big guy.
But I tell you what, he's keeping the tash. I'm with Starry there. I'm so happy he's kept that tash.
It's dashing.
Is Eddie Murphy tash?
in some respects, though, he is. I mean, obviously David Tennant's a very good-looking man, but he's got a sort of hawkishness about his features, I've always thought. And with the hair, it gives so much character. Whereas Ncuti clearly prefers to keep his hair quite short. He's also a good-looking man, but he's a bit more symmetrical than Tennant is, I think. And so to have the moustache, I think, gives him something else.
I think you and Starry were talking about, he has got that sort of old film glamour look about him a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah. I can imagine him on the set of Casablanca going into Rick's.
Who?
Yeah, like
Who?
Ncuti Gatwa.
You're joking.
Yeah, all he needs is a fedora.
No, Ncuti looks like comes from the 80s.
I think if you put
I don't know what you're seeing here, guys.
I think if you put him in like a sharp suit, I think he could pull it off and he'd have that old.
I feel these coats. I feel that this style of coat though is a deliberate sort of hark back to a bygone era. I think it's the kind of things not necessarily that women would have worn in the 40s and the 50s, but the fact that they're a little more fitted but can still billow. I've seen jackets, not plaid, but certainly of that cut, that style. It's kind of like a short raincoat almost.
I'm just old fashioned. I mean,
with the belt as well, mate.
This is where Doctor Who's going, you know, and I'm praying that it's going to be really good, and I could be happy watching every episode every week. I obviously I'm stuck in time because I actually believe that Doctor's costume should always be Edwardian, crossed with something that's
I'm still kind of along those lines.
Yes,
even if it isn't actually Edwardian. There's no way you couldn't say that Tennant's is. I think but it's still by putting that suit with that coat, he's one accessory away from looking kind of, if not Victorian, certainly Edwardian again. Like a tall hat or something would be enough.
If you take the tie off and have like a cravat type thing, a bit like Paul McGann in the movie.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, right? The Doctor's costume was always a costume, apart from Colin's one, which was just a mess, like a pizza. But he can go in any time zone and fit in. Do you know what I mean? Like even with what's his name, Chris Eccleston's costume. Even when he went to visit Edwardian times, he could fit in. All of them, in fact. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. The cricket one wouldn't work in any time, would it?
No, but the idea is, I mean, if he was going to play cricket, it probably would do. If he was on the pavilion, gone for a break, gone for a cocktail in between, what do they call it? Rounds? What do they call it? Sets? Matches? I don't know.
Don't play cricket.
I know nothing about sport.
Overs, in between overs. There we are. Yeah. A sporting term I know.
Yeah. As I said, I like all these costumes speak the Doctor to me. The Doctor as I know it. With Shooty's costume, it doesn't really speak Doctor. It just speaks of, I don't know, of what's happening today. And, I'm old fashioned, if it's going that way, it's going that way.
I mean, I feel, Ian, that it's a starting point and that there's no way he's going to always be wearing the same sweater.
Of course.
He may not always be wearing the same coat. I think it'll hopefully
might be different colours.
Still have that silhouette. Yeah. I'll be, if it's the way I view it, if he's chosen a sweater or anything from the ladies' wear section, then it's fine because he looks really cool in it. He can absolutely wear it. It doesn't look necessarily out of place. It looks a little odd, but no stranger than, as I've said, than figures like David Bowie looked in the 70s. They wore women's sweaters all the time. It's no big deal. I do think that if he continues to deliberately only pick ladies' wear, then I'm thinking, okay, so this is a deliberate. This is almost like a campaign, almost. Please pick what you're comfortable wearing or what you think is interesting by all means, but don't pick it just because it's ladies' wear. Pick it because you like it, and then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, okay. and my whole thing with once, because I didn't know until you brought it up in that video with Starro, and my takeaway from the fact that he's wearing the women's jumper and coat is, as long as in the writing it's not brought up and in your face. Like, I sort of said, I don't want the Doctors stood there boasting. Like, look what I'm wearing. Like, as long as we don't get that.
For example, Charlotte, if Ruby says to him, you can't wear that. And he says, why not? Well, it's for a woman. And he goes, what? And then just goes about his business. And that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
As if like, I like it. What the hell? Yeah.
If it's like a big sort of very clear pointed song and dance, then I think, then we can say there's a bit of politics happening here, possibly. But if it's just because Shooty likes it, and I agree, I think he pulls it off quite well. And to look at it, to me, and I can say this as a woman, to look at that, I didn't click it at all. So it's obviously done in quite a subtle way.
I knew there was something, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
I never give things that I'm really into a free pass, never. And to me, it's obvious that it's a statement. But, that's just me, right? Everybody else might disagree with me. But I never give anything. I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who, and if I find something wrong in it, or in my opinion, I would never give it a pass. I'm not going to give this a pass. I think they deliberately went out the way to pick women's clothes or women's jump or whatever, and this is where we're going with the show. In fact, this is where every major studio or TV network wants to go with shows and stuff like that. They want to tick boxes. They want to introduce all kinds of stuff that people are accepting today, and it's up to us whether we want to accept it or not. But I think it's done deliberately, personally. But that's just my opinion, right?
Well, we'll just have to see, in honesty, because we that's the thing, we're still in this guessing point, aren't we? Like we've not
remember, it's based on what happened in the past, Charlotte.
Oh, I know, but I also think the industry has had so many failures, so many moments of, God, everybody hates this sort of way of storytelling and way of doing characters, that they cannot just keep going on with it. There has to be a point where they have to make money, or they have to just realize if they burn every franchise, there's going to be none left.
That's anymore. But that's not their criteria, though, is it? Money's not their criteria at all.
Well, it will have to be at some point, because how are they going to make things if they don't have money?
Nobody's got bottomless pockets, mate. No one.
It's not based on that, though. It's kind of like a religion with these people. They actually truly believe that what they're doing is right. So,
but
that's why we need the David Zaslav, Charlotte, isn't it, to come in and say, "Whoa, stop that load of old bollocks."
Well, we basically need people to say, "Well, is it making me money? No. Okay, then do it different."
I was
talking
to someone on Keith's stream. Actually, he works for the industry, the American industry, and he was talking about how the fans were trying to cancel a lot of stuff and stuff like that. And he's in a bubble, so he obviously sees it in one way, that fans trying to. I was trying to explain to him the reason why fans are having a go is because it's all based on what was in the past. Every show has been tailored to tick boxes that way. So that's why they're basically, they're judging it before it comes out. They're making a guess before it comes out, but based on everything that's happened in the past, that's why they're making the guess. And that's why you're getting so much trouble.
It's getting faster as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
That Witcher Blood Origin show, that has gone down like the stinkiest fart in the smallest lift. Yeah. And anybody could see that coming.
And he can't see that basically it's not the fans' fault. It's their fault for doing this stuff. He can't see that because he's in a bubble. He works for the industry. His girlfriend makes costumes for so-and-so. So I was trying to explain to him, but you can see in his eye he did not want to know. So this is what you're dealing with,
Charlotte. The shutters are down.
The point I'm trying to make.
No, I know on the creative side, but then that's my point. The people who aren't part of the creative side of the industry, who aren't part of who just have to think, I just have to write my script, I just have to make my thing. The people have to go, okay, so that costs this much. We get this much audience who are doing all that side of it, are going to eventually have to go and talk to the creatives and go, if you want to carry on doing your jobs, you need to buck up because it's not sustainable.
Unfortunately, it is quite sustainable because Disney makes billions a year. And even though they are losing money, they're still not losing enough money to actually put a halt to this stuff and to recognize that this stuff is the stuff that's losing them money. They're still in a bubble, as like when I was talking to that guy. So this is what you're dealing with. I think it's going to be a long time until we actually stop doing this stuff, and then hopefully things will get back on track. Honestly, equally, I'm not saying that when we get back on track, we should just trash all the diversity, trash all the women being lead and stuff. I actually believe in all that stuff, but it's too heavy on one side. Do you know what I mean?
It's too one-sided, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Anyway. It is indeed. Let us know what you think of our little ramble here. Might catch up with Charlotte and Ian about the things that we haven't been able to talk about because the Shooty's new costume that got revealed just as we were all sort of breaking up for Christmas and going off and doing our own thing or whatever else. So we've got a bit extra banter and a peek inside the mega mind there, and Charlotte's always measured critique there from a woman's eye as well of what it turns out to be women's clothes. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell so you get all the notifications about what we're doing next. and when we're doing it. Okay, that wraps it up for this little chat. I think we'll speak to you all again soon. Bye bye. Where are we?